Thanks, Eric. I'll jump in here as well. Mike, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at Hut and the Executive Chairman here at American Bitcoin. Let me just start off by saying we could not be more excited. There are many, many, many reasons why this creation is so perfect for what we're solving for. At Hut, we are a power first company. We're a digital infrastructure developer, and there is aspects of the business which are considered lower volatility, and then Bitcoin, which is tied to higher volatility. This is a perfect structure that allows us to bifurcate our lower volatility the business and provide a pure play exposure into Bitcoin. Uh, Bitcoin mining is a business that is highly regarded on the inputs of your cost of energy, SG&A. With the structure that we've created between the sister contracts between Hut 8 and American Bitcoin is going to have some of the lowest cost pure play exposure to Bitcoin to focus on infrastructure, develop out the energy, pick the sites, and hand over ready a traditional real estate approach and taking a triple net lease concept, which allows pass through energy to American Bitcoin to allow for the best economics on the mining side. American Bitcoin will be able to focus on pure exposure to hash rate, accumulating Bitcoin through the Bitcoin's mined and through other means of purchasing Bitcoin. And we're just extremely excited to tie American energy, Bitcoin hash rate owned by an American company, and to be pushing this initiative with everyone on the call here.
Mike, can I hop in for 1 second? Oftentimes people think, America has lost certain competitive advantages, and I generally disagree with that. The place that hasn't lost any competitive advantages with industry, with energy, and that's everything. That's what makes the system go, as you just mentioned. And we have an administration in Washington right now who wants the lowest cost energy. You've all heard the term "drill, baby, drill." We already had great energy costs relative to other countries around the world in the United States. Go look at Europe; it's an absolute disaster. This model isn't even possible there because their energy rates are so high. You have a country that's sitting on more energy than any place in the world, and you have an administration that's damn keen on making sure that those energy costs go down. And I think that's only going to put America at the forefront even more, and make American kind of Bitcoin mining the most prevalent in the world and maybe the most profitable anywhere in the world. And I think that's great. All right. I mean, we have to lead the digital revolution. We have to lead the way. America needs to lead the way on the crypto front. We put a person on the moon. We're the country that always has these moonshot missions. And if you look 20 years into the future, there's no question that modern finance is going to be vastly different than it is today. But again, the low cost energy that we have as a nation, which is going down rapidly, and it has been for the last 2.5 months, is only going to further that acceleration. And as a nation, I think we need to harness it as people who are all listening to this call right now, as people who are believers, many from the U.S. The United States has to embrace that, and I think we will, and I think it's going to give us a massive competitive advantage. And again, that's why we called it American Bitcoin. This is an American centric mission. We're an American centric family, and obviously it's a cryptocurrency. It's a store of value that everybody on this call clearly adores. Which is very much the thesis of what we're doing.
No, Eric, that's exactly right. And I just want to quickly add a point. I think most don't know this, but the state of Texas has more energy generation than most European countries. Texas today has about 75 to 80 gigawatts of generation, and soon going above 100 gigawatts of total generation in the next few years. European countries, the names that we'd all be familiar with, typically probably only have 10, 20, maybe 30 gigawatts of generation. The state of Texas alone has many European countries in terms of energy footprint.
No, Mike, I think you really got it. Hey, everybody, this is Matt Prusite here, the CEO. I'm just so excited to be here with you all. And Eric and Mike, I think you both just nailed it. If you zoom out and then zoom in hard on why we're building American Bitcoin and why this is a generational business, it's the American aspect. Look, I live in Texas. To Mike's point, I mean, we're a superpower of energy in Texas, and America as a whole is a superpower. And what we're doing here is just a natural extension of what we've always done in the US, right? Energy independence, economic freedom, sovereign infrastructure. And so what Eric was laying out around the weaponization of the financial system and political access to capital, I mean, those aren't hypotheticals, right? These are real situations. And so a lot of us in the industry and in this room have experience with this, right? And that's why this company really matters. American Bitcoin isn't just mining. We're like a declaration, right? We're a refusal to play by those old central finance rules. And we're going to stack the hardest stack of sats that anyone ever has, right? At scale and at speed and cheaply as well. So, others are doing ETFs or these meme coins. And again, we do not have a meme coin. So do not do any Solana pump fund garbage, right? We're building a legit company here. While we respect, others in the crypto area, we're not doing pump fund. We're building mines, right? And so we're building a sovereign digital reserve, right? That's powered with U.S. energy, Texas grid, and military grade precision. And the model is very simple to what Mike was saying. We mine Bitcoin we're manufacturing it at a structural discount to the market. We hold it on our balance sheet and then grow that treasury quarter after quarter, right? And the bit that this plays into well with what Azure does and the Hut 8 team is that as their sister company, Hut 8 are experts at the infrastructure, right? They develop infra all day long. They manage operations. That means that every dollar we have at ABTC goes right into hash rate, not overhead, not the bloated capex, not fractured incentives. We're totally aligned on stacking stats, right? So Asher wants to go into some hard numbers, so I'll leave it with him on that. But think about it. We're starting day one with basically 10 exahash with more on the way, right? And I just want folks to know that when they think about American Bitcoin, they're thinking about the best Bitcoin exposure you can buy on the market once we're developed and fully operational. So we're super excited to be here manufacturing Bitcoin on behalf of our peers in the industry, not selling and hodling and getting more Bitcoin than folks would get if they buy in the open market once we're fully operational as a mine. So Asher, I'll turn it over to you. I know you wanted to dive into some numbers as well.
Yeah, let's go to hard, real numbers, and this kind of ties into what everyone was talking about and chatting about. At the core of making this business great, we have to be one of the best procurers of energy out there. We have to get low cost power. And what's really interesting is low cost power means that there's an ample amount of power, which is why the cost is cheap, right? So when we build sites in places like West Texas, the Panhandle, we're able to get this lowest cost power and simultaneously help strengthen the grid and manage around the volatility that exists. And so when we look at kind of this last quarter and we look at the Hut 8 numbers, both in kind of Q3 and then also looking at it in Q4, I mean, our cost of power was 2.8 cents in Q3 2024, 3.163 cents in Q4 2024. And so some of the lowest cost power out there. And what's really interesting is last year, this goes to why this structure makes so much sense, is we really held back on buying net new ASICs. And so we were able to lock in a cost of mining Bitcoin between $31,000 to $38,000 in those 2 quarters, even though difficulty was going up, and even with kind of that volatility with a old fleet, right? The average fleet efficiency that we had was around 32 joules per terahash, and we only had 5.5 exahash online. But we were building all that infrastructure quietly in the background, and not so quietly. I was telling everybody, but they just kind of didn't realize what was happening. And then in December, we said, you know what? We're going to go spend $100+ million and we're going to go upgrade this fleet. And within a couple of months, we now dropped that efficiency from 32 to 20 joules per terahash. We went from 5.5 to 10.3 exahash. And now we're also energizing Vega soon, which is an additional almost 15 exahash, bringing the overall fleet potential to 25 exahash. And that's steel in the ground, real assets, hard assets. And if you think about what is a path to above 50 exahash, that sounds so much. I mean, that's 2 more Vegas, right? It's not that much. I mean, in the last earnings call I shared, Hut 8 has 12.3 gigawatts. That's 12,300 megawatts of power in our pipeline. 2.8 gigawatts, 2,800 megawatts of those are under exclusivity and in different diligence stages. So when you think about Vega, that's a 200 megawatt site. We have 2,800 and broader 12,300 megawatts within the pipeline. So we're extremely excited for what the growth of American Bitcoin involves, the ability to be a low-cost scaled miner. and the ability to create an accumulation strategy that allows you to have a weighted average lower cost than buying, because we have this asset where we can buy Bitcoin in theory for cheaper because we're actually building infrastructure, mining it, and harnessing the energy in order to do so. And so